High above the beautiful, beautiful Delaware River is where you'll find us here inside Studio S in our Sport Trade headquarters. Welcome into another edition of Market Movers on a Thursday. I'm your host, Dan Koob, our executive producer of content and media. Welcome in. We'll start with the order book before we unveil our guest today. Rob Ellis is here. We have a World Series preview. We're going to go through the several markets that we've got here on Sports Trade, some of them that we literally just released today as well. Super excited about that. We'll talk Eagles, we'll talk Steelers, and then the top 3 NFL value trades before you start trading this weekend. But first and foremost, we have to welcome in a Philadelphia sports media icon.
What?
Rob Ellis. Here he is. No, he's right behind you. It's Reggie White, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. How are you, my friend?
He's a little intimidating, that guy behind me. Scares me a little bit, I got to say.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, bro. Boy, palatial studios. I can
Yes.
I like work a bed in there and maybe just, kind of crash there every once in a while? It's a nice place.
We got plenty of space, and we have like a 70-inch TV just outside the window here where people will gather. They'll watch the World Series in a couple days. And I got to say, there's a plush couch right out there with potentially
That's it. I'm in.
Potentially your name on it. Well,
Yes,
you've got to
thank
be in Jersey to trade on Sport Trade, so come on over. You're welcome at any time, Rob. Super excited that you're here. Obviously, the area is a buzz, right? We're a Philadelphia-based company. We're only live in New Jersey, but obviously if you're in Pennsylvania, Delaware, New York, you can certainly download Sport Trade and take a look at all of our markets. We've got the Phillies, we've got the Astros. Even besides Sport Trade, Rob, put into context for us, how surprising has this run been for the Fightins?
Think about what had to happen, Dan. If they don't add the 6th wild card, it doesn't happen.
Right.
If there is not a universal DH, it doesn't happen because we would have seen Bryce Harper for like a month or whatever it was. Okay. There are so many things that had to break right for this to even be a possibility, not to mention the biggest one of Joe Girardi being shown the door and Rob Thompson coming in and doing the job he's done. I mean, it's one of the more remarkable feats that we've ever seen in the history of Philadelphia sports. And if they could win the whole thing, I don't know. It's going to probably rank maybe right behind a backup quarterback slaying the evil empire.
It's funny you say that because I was walking my dog this morning and I was thinking, man, like that the whole Nick Foles thing is such an aberration, right? So I actually went through the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks for the last, I think, since Joe Flacco won it in 2012. And it's Brady, not Rodgers, Brady, Manning, mostly, Brady again, Brady a third time, Matt Stafford, and then you have Nick Foles. It still, to me, makes almost zero sense. But the Eagles look like they're geared up to do it again. We'll take a look at our markets here on Sport Trade for Game 1 of the World Series between the Phillies and the Astros. Of course, first pitch tomorrow, 8:03 Eastern from Houston. And our winner's market, the Phillies trading at just $39 to beat the Astros in Game 1 with Aaron Nola on the hill to start that one. Again, $39 means a 39% chance to win. The Astros at 62. The run line, 1.5 both ways. 59.50 for the Phillies to cover 1.5. The Astros at -1.5 at 42.5. The over, 6.5 runs. 53.5 for that, and then $48. So you're in that plus territory for under 6.5 runs. Rob, are you surprised that Thompson decides to go with Nola in Game 1 instead of Wheeler?
The numbers are so strong toward Wheeler with the extra day rest. It doesn't shock me. I think Rob Thompson's been a really nice combo of gut versus analytics, and I think he's played it very well. I think how Wheeler's done with the extra rest, I think taking that shot off his calf maybe plays into it. I think Nola pitching there the last time he pitched and really dealing, and I know the Astros didn't have a ton to play for, but he's comfortable there. I think all of those factor in, and in Rob, I trust. There have been many times, Dan, where I've caught myself during this run saying, what's he doing? I mean, he's pulling him now. What is this? And then it all works out. So I have to caution myself every time I go against them. So I'm in. I think it's going to work.
Look, I've been listening to a very popular, I usually don't do this, but I caught myself listening to a very popular sports radio station in town, one that employs you. And I cannot believe how many people think the Phillies are going to sweep the Astros. It is
sweep.
Yes. Oof. I was getting a haircut yesterday and you were on and I was listening to you as I'm one to do. And I remember specifically a guy was saying sweep, maybe 5 Phils, which excites me as somebody who, I will divulge, has Game 5 tickets. May not have a show next Wednesday because I want to be there. I want to be tailgating, doing the whole thing. I there's so much confidence right now in this baseball team where a month ago we were like, what a collapse. What a calamity. It's terrible.
I'll share with you a quick story.
No,
here.
of course,
Okay,
please.
so I'm on, along with our friend Devin Caney. We're on in between the doubleheader in Washington. Remember that really rainy Saturday? It'll be about a month ago
rock
this
bottom.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. They lose the first game, and you're saying to yourself, "This is over." Like this is every single year the collapse. Here we go again. You go from that to this getting swept by the Cubs to where you're on the brink right now of the World Series. It's incredible the way that this thing has shifted, the paradigm on this thing. It's unreal.
We have just released several new markets on Sport Trade that we're going to show you. If you take a look to our right, we've got our markets up on our phone. We just released today the exact results of the World Series and World Series MVP. We'll take a look at the World Series exact results, and then the highest probability on the board here is Astros in 6, trading at $21. Astros in 7 at 19. Astros in 5 at 15.5. You sort of catching my wind here. Phillies in 7 at 11.5. And then you look all the way down here, that sweep, $4.50. The Astros to sweep is only $10. So people may be thinking like, hey, the Phillies will at least give them a little bit of a push, considering the Astros have not lost a single postseason game. You know, Phillies in 6, I think, is something that if the stars align, that could be what we see. Now, obviously, you know, that would require them to win 1, maybe 2 games in Houston. I'm not sure if they'll be able to pull that off. I think it's not exactly a trade secret to say the Astros have a better pitching staff, top to bottom, I think. And that lineup just continues to roll no matter who's in it. This is going to be, to me, a really great opportunity if you're a sport trade trader to hop in, and if you love the Phillies, just buy up a couple contracts, because every contract settles at 100. So if the Phillies win at all, you're coming out in the plus money there.
I'm with you. Okay, Dan, I'm with you in 6 because it lines up with who's pitching in game 6.
You'll see Nola twice. You'll see Wheeler twice.
Correct.
Yeah.
And look, one of the things the Phillies have done extremely well is they generally grab the first game. They're undefeated on the road, winning game 1. So if you can get 1 and you get back there and you have Wheeler on the mound for 6, it makes a lot of sense. And they've been a great home team, undefeated at home. That's the one. That's the one I'm looking at long and hard right there. Phillies in 6.
Okay. Well, of course, that's the only market that is experiencing some volatility. So when that's up, maybe I'll buy you a contract, Rob. We can track it. World Series MVP is another market that we've just put up today. And similar to the exact numbers in the World Series, we're seeing a lot of Houston Astros. Bryce Harper at $10 seems to be the easy play. I just tweeted out. I'll scroll down so you can see it. Not a big Nick Castellanos fan over here in this house. You know, you figure by game 175, you change your approach to the plate. Maybe not. Trading at just $1.90. I said if I were rich, I would short that position. I'd spend all the money in my savings account to short that position. And just to prove that point, let's say there are 25 contracts available. So if I say for 25 contracts, hold on, let me sign back in here. So for 25 contracts, I would make $44.
Oh my God.
To lay $2,400. That's
a good investment, man.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
That is a real good investment right there at that number.
But you know what? I feel pretty confident in it. I'm not going to do it.
The other one I would look at too, Dan, is Segura. Segura's been, you know, the numbers aren't overwhelming.
Yeah.
But he's been clutch.
So
So maybe there's 2 games instead of 1 where he gets the big hit, and that sticks in everybody's head. And I think he's going to field very well in this series because he had that one blunder in the last one.
It's a great point.
Right,
it's a great point, Rob, and he's one of the 2 guys in the lineup that actually hits to contact, him and Bryson Stott. Nobody else hits the contact in this team. Nobody else puts the ball in play on this team, which is another conversation for another day. But because he's only trading, it's a great point. Because Segura is only trading at $1.20, so you can see it on the screen here. If you bought every contract we had, every share at $52, it would only cost you $62, and it would return over $5,000.
That's a killer right there, man.
All right. You're in?
All in.
All right,
Yes.
we're gonna sweep the board. There it is, live on Market Movers. Rob Ellis in for 52 contracts of Gene Segura to win World Series MVP. I love it. I love it. And the best part about this, Rob, is I can send you screenshots of this and I can update this for you. So let's just say the Phillies win game 1, right? Let's say they win game 1. Let's say Segura goes 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and he makes unbelievable play at second base. This is what we call our money bar. And I don't think I've had too much of a chance to show you guys on Sports Take. let's say that happens and he goes from 1.2 to 5. Well, you have 52 contracts. So
Right.
let's say to make the math easier, he goes to 5.2. 5 times 52 is how much money you'll make after one game. And you can just sell that right away and you're out.
Yeah, you're already good. Yeah, you've already
Amazing.
made your money back and then some.
I love that. Okay. So, hey,
Yes.
you're in for Gene Segura to win
Beautiful.
MVP. I love it. Real quick, we'll just run down some of the other names here. Alec Boehm at $1.60, probably not. Yuli Gurriel, probably not. I mean, Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are $7.50 combined. They're going to get 2 starts. Maybe if this goes to game 7, maybe you see Wheeler come out of the bullpen. Like we've seen
Yes.
that in so many instances in game 7s in the World Series. Reese Hoskins at $4.50. Jeremy Pena, who's been unbelievable for a rookie time and time
Amazing.
again. Time and time again, Rob. He's coming up with big hits.
I tend to always look in that ballpark at lefties too. And righties. It's such a hitter friendly park.
Schwarber, $5.50.
Schwarber with experience in the World Series is probably something to look at. If I'm going Astro side of this thing, Dan,
Yeah.
I'm looking at Valdez. I'm looking at Valdez in a big way.
Yeah, well, he's at
He's a guy.
13. So
Yeah, well, a lot of this is going to fall on Verlander and his struggles in the World Series and just how good he's been. And he's Justin Verlander, but Valdez is an interesting one to jump on for me.
well, what's interesting here is why don't we just we'll go 1. We'll put 1 on Valdez at 13. That returns 85.26. So you've got 1 on each side. Harper to me feels he's hot, obviously. Feels
Yes.
maybe too obvious.
Probably, and
yeah.
not maybe as much value, potentially.
No, I totally agree. You've got Altuve at 650, Justin Verlander at 650. I'm sure you guys have covered this too. The stats about Verlander in the World Series are fascinating.
It's mind-boggling.
7 starts. He has an ERA, I think, above 7.
It's in total contrast with who he's been as a pitcher in general.
Not something I understand, frankly. But
another reason to look at game 1, where the Phillies have been so good and he's struggled so much. I think you're going to get good Aaron Nola. I think Aaron Nola is still stinging a little bit from his last outing in San Diego. I think he feels like he let that slip away, and they obviously they were able to survive it. But I think you're going to get a really good Aaron Nola outing in game 1.
I hope so. It just feels like the innings are sort of stacking up for Wheeler. I mean, now he's hitting 80 pitches and he's losing 4 or 5 miles an hour on his fastball. But Nola's been really good, man, except for that one inning in San Diego. I'll pull the markets up again. I mean, the Phillies open, I believe, at 42. They're down to 39. So the movement all in favor of the Astros. It seems like a decent buy low opportunity. Both teams haven't played since Sunday, right? So there's no advantage there. I mean, they're both playing simulated games, but not too big of a deal. The alternate run lines here: 4.5, 6.5, 8.5. I feel like all 3 of them have a pretty decent opportunity.
Yeah, I would certainly 4.5. Certainly. Yep. 6.5 is tough. The thing that worries me with the Phillies is you get into that bullpen, and really, who are you trusting beyond Sir Anthony and Alvarado? Who are you really trusting?
Zach
There's not
Eflin.
a lot.
Yeah. A month ago, if you would have said Zach Eflin, I would have laughed. But Eflin's come in. He's looked great. Movement on his fastball has been really interesting. He's got a lot of late stuff breaking too with his junk stuff. I've been really surprised by him.
He could be really effective. Hopefully, you don't need him much, but in game 1, after a lot of rest, kind of that starter arm that he's used to having a lot of days off, he's one to watch. At all costs, avoid Hand and avoid Robertson.
God.
Both guys scare the heck out of me, man.
Yeah, so does his chin strap. All right, we'll move on. Eagles and Steelers. Talking NFL now. Here's our markets on Sport Trade for the Birds and the Steel City. Steelers at 19.5, Eagles 81.5. So I'm not sure how much value exists there, especially with Nick Sirianni's guys coming off the bye. Here is potentially where some value is. 10.5 is the line. It's a meaty number, but at 55, $50.50 on either side, you may be able to find something there. 43.5 is the total, 49 to the over, 52 to the under. The only thing that concerns me there, Rob, is the Eagles have gotten out to such big leads. They're averaging over 21 points in first halves. Yeah. They can just sit on the ball. So as somebody who likes the bets totals, that really worries me. But 43.5 is a low number. We've talked
Making it over that. I think that's an over, Dan. I think what you're going to see is a correction on the third quarter struggles, particularly offensively, which means the Eagles will put up some points in the third quarter as well. Look, this Pittsburgh team doesn't get to the quarterback. You should have all day, and the Eagles should be able to tee off in conversely on Pickett, which could create a turnover in a short field. I like the over. I don't,
Okay.
I rarely ever lay more than double digits in any circumstance. And there's a couple this weekend, in fact.
Well, I
It's
think
not just the
the
Eagles.
last three teams who have been favored by 10 points or more have lost in the last
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks, I think.
I'm not a fan of going that route, but I actually do like the over in this one. And I get what you're saying. I understand that in terms of taking the air out of the ball, but I think this will be Eagles are going to put up some points in this game.
All right, here we go. We've got it loaded up here. Rob Ellis in on the over.
Yes.
There we go. We'll update you as the game continues. That's an interesting play too. I mean, you think about. I think this is a great opportunity for the Eagles to continue to flex that run muscle, right?
Yep.
TJ Watt no longer there. There's really not much of a pass rushing scare from the Steelers, but another team that's real light in the pants up the middle. Devin Bush, good linebacker, same size as Jalen Hurts. I just think this is a great opportunity for the Eagles to come out and say, hey, you know what? We're going to beat teams in a variety of ways, as we've seen the first 6 weeks of the year. And this is just a good old-fashioned butt whooping here. We'll kind of close out here, Rob, with some of the value plays from week 8, at least as I see them. We'll start tonight. Ravens at Bucks. This one is really interesting. You can get the Ravens right now at $46 per contract to win on SportTrade. They opened this week, Rob, on Monday. I track it every Monday. That way we can sort of look back and monitor the price movement. The Ravens on Monday opened at $54.50. And now
Really?
they're down to 46. Now, we've seen this with line movement as well. Now, the lines don't move on SportTrade, the prices do, but this is just to win outright. So I'm trying to think of ways that this could have happened. And the only thing I can think of is Mark Andrews is hurt. Short week, Mark Andrews is hurt. But let me just read for you real quick the injury report, Rob, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. I don't know if we have enough time. I think this will take us to midnight.
It
but
might.
Yeah, I hear you.
3 of their 4 original offensive linemen are already out, and now their starting guard is out. Antoine Winfield, Carlton Davis, and Sean Murphy Bunting all out. That's 3 starters in the secondary. Russell Gage, whatever, third wide receiver, out. Cameron Brate, starting tight end, out. Hakeem Hicks, doubtful. This offense has scored. I'm going to come back on camera for this.
Yeah.
The offense has scored 21, 18, and 3 points in the last 3 weeks to the Falcons, Steelers, and Panthers. The only other time this season they scored 21 points or more was when they were down 14-0 immediately to the Chiefs and had to chase for 59 minutes and 50 seconds in a game. This team is broken.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to me, easily one of the easiest, most valuable trades of the week, grabbing the Ravens tonight.
Look, I agree. I think we're all in the mode of it's Tom Brady and it's like a horror movie. You think the villain's not dead, right? And we're all sort of creeping around the house and we're looking at where open the closet door and he's going to attack us. Like, I think we're all in that mindset. But the truth of the matter is, this is not a good football team. They're just not. And
Yeah.
especially on the offensive side, which is like blasphemous to say because it's Brady. But everything you just pointed out with the injuries, he looks like he's got 1 foot out the door. He's having buyer's remorse for coming back this
Yeah.
year. For all of the, and Baltimore desperately needs this. Not that the Bucks don't, but I would be all, because Baltimore's seeing what Cincinnati's starting to do, et cetera. I would be all over Baltimore tonight. Mark Andrews or not.
Baltimore is such a 50-50 team. They're a coin flip team. Their last 4 games have all been decided by 4 points or less, and they're 2-2.
And it's a sweat all the time,
Yeah.
Dan,
Oh, yeah.
because they cough up leads all the time.
One of the worst fourth quarter teams by far.
Yes.
Easily. The next one here, Rob, Seahawks minus 9.5 against the visiting 6-1 Giants. Now, this is the only game on the slate this week between 2 teams with winning records. Here, 9.5 is a lot, but here's what I'm willing to say. Because of the way SportTrade works, you can get in and you can get out whenever you want with no friction whatsoever for the actual market value of what your trade is worth in that moment. So, Seattle averages the 3rd most points in the first half of any team this season, over 16 points per game. The Giants average just over 7, and that's 30th in the NFL. Conversely,
So you're almost covering right there.
You're almost covering right there. Conversely, though, the Seahawks tightening the screws on defense, Rob, allowed just 10 points per game in the first half in their last 3. The Giants are allowing over 14 points per game in first halves the last 3 weeks. That's why I say grab the Seattle Seahawks at home, no less. Now, I know we don't love teams going, west to east, east to
Right.
west doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. But this is a Giants team that I think has benefited from a lot of luck, specifically late in games. They probably should have lost the Jaguars last week, even though we said on Market Movers, we love the Giants at their price. This to me feels like a great opportunity to buy the Seahawks early at $27 and then get out once they hit around 50.
I like it. And that's why, look, that's what I like about Sport Trade. You have to get out of the sort of the traditional thinking of, I'm just going to have to cover this number. You can get off of this, just monitor as the game goes, ride it potentially if it looks good. If not, you get off. I like it.
Our last one here. This has been one of the most fun rivalries to watch in some time. Oh, Husky Park TV. Reaching out here on YouTube. Great app. Thank you so much. Husky Park TV, of course, our guy Eddie, not only the owner and purveyor of the fantastic Baines Deli that is attached to our building here, but also an ace sideline reporter for Husky Park TV, motocross in the area. There you go, legend. No, my friend. You are the legend. Thank you for watching, Eddie. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow at lunchtime. Yeah, so back to brass tacks here.
Look at you just working meals in. You're already setting yourself up for
Eddie's,
lunch tomorrow.
You know what?
Nice.
We gave him a hat. Eddie wears the hat every day. We put the QR code for the app up in Baines Deli. He's the man. We love Eddie here. So San Francisco and the Rams. Since Matt Stafford has come over to the Rams, I mean, obviously McVay, Shanahan is awesome every single time out. But since Stafford has come over to the Rams, the Niners have limited that offense to 10 points, 24 points, 20 points, and 9 points. And the average score of the game in totality, Rob, 40 points. So this number, not that far off, 42-5, but the Rams now back from a bye. Their secondary had a lot of injuries. It's the first full week probably that San Fran's trying to sort of integrate Christian McCaffrey, but they just saw each other 3 weeks ago too.
Right.
So at 48.5 is the price here. The first half begins slowly, right? The Rams still trying to sort of figure some things out. We have seen on the app that our market makers perhaps get a little antsy when the first couple drives don't produce any points, right? And that's part of the game too, right? You need to be able to not only time the market, but maybe understand situationally, hey, this team is going to have a short field. This team's going to have a long field, right? If a team gets a stop near their end zone, huge, that means the offense is going to come on with maybe 45 yards to go to score. This could be a good opportunity to get out. What do you think about that total?
It makes sense. Yeah, normally you would see that and say, oh, come on, they're going to blast over that over, especially if you think about the Rams team last year. But if you know the history here, the way Shanahan and that defense clamped down on them, I would roll with the under. I would roll with the under in this game, Dan. I'm going under 42.5 there, my friend.
I love it. Okay, Rob, thank you so much for joining us. We loved having you here on Market Movers. Real quick, World Series tomorrow. Can we get your official prediction? I know you said that you like Phillies in 6. But let's remove our Phillies caps. We both went to Temple. We're Philly. Let me get your honest prediction of what you think will actually happen in the World Series.
I actually think the Phillies win in 6. I don't think it's a sweep, as some people may think.
Wow.
But I think the Phillies win it in 6, and I think they get game 1, Dan. Game 1 will be the key to this whole thing. They will continue their home field dominance, and I think they win. And I think we're going to get something really goofy that happens tomorrow night. Something that is completely unexpected, like Brandon Marsh hits a 2-run shot.
Now I know you're lying.
Puts the Phillies up.
Now I know you're lying.
Yes, the hair. You know you love the hair. The wet hair. The whole thing that's going on there with this guy. He's going to do something crazy.
The first time my wife laid eyes on Brandon Marsh, she said, "That's disgusting," and that's how I've operated ever since. Rob Ellis,
if he can catch the ball in center field, we haven't seen that all year. I don't care what he looks like, man.
That's so true.
Let's be clear.
Just catch those fly balls. All right.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us. Rob Ellis, everybody from Jacob Media. Do you want to plug Sports Take real quick?
Yeah, Sports Take, Monday through Friday, noon to 3 Eastern, and catch me on the weekends on WIP. But I appreciate you having me, Dan.
Sounds good. Rob Ellis, thank you so much. Not the last time we'll hear from him. That's it for us. World Series Game 1 tomorrow. We will be talking about it on Market Movers. Same time, same place. Only tomorrow we'll be joined by Pine Sports. We'll see you tomorrow.